I believe that my soul that was there as a child will always remain there, until death, because I think that that doesn't change. I think that the soul is a being with no transformations, unlike the body and the mind that go through constant changes. As a child, I experienced this unity in my surroundings with the gift of seeing. So today what I try and do, I try to recapture this early stage of unified elements that I experienced then, and it's at that stage where the soul is fully liberated. When you're a child and you look at the world, you still have the sense that things are whole and things are complete, and they're not yet in a state of fragmentation. And having been through all that type of fragmentation, it is very difficult to be able to retrack and constantly keep reminding yourself, you know, there is still a child there, there is still a soul that belongs, and you need to be in touch with that. I mean, and I think that art for me will make me be in touch with that, and that's why I look for these objects and I look for that connection. And I guess that's why I can say that my images are very simplified, are very much to do with the way children look at the world.
What are those images?
The images are anything. I don't look for specific image, or I don't look for anything that's preconceived in my mind. It's just anything. I can pick up anything as long as it surrounds me and it's part of my environment. I will look at the object and make that connect, and because I find that children are very connected with the environment that they are in. My work is basically not about materials, and it's not about tricky imagery either. It expresses more a metaphysical moment that I experience within the environment. So because it is based on this moment and on this immediacy, I need a material that will give me that directness and that simplicity and the strength and solidity of it. Because as I express my line on the paper, I like to look at the object very intensely, and as I carry the line on, I have this extreme contact with the object itself, as though I am almost touching the object, as though almost the line is almost touching it. That line, form, and space become one. I find that line is one of the most essential elements in the work, but also color. The way I use color is very direct, pure, and almost primal. Another element that I do look for in my work, and it's to do with ambiguity. Ambiguity is a very important part of my work. Until I don't reach that state, I will absolutely not be happy with it. The ambiguity is what makes the image alive, interesting, and it's what makes the viewer be very interested in what they are seeing, because it will make them use their imagination, or it will make them want to dwell on the image and see whatever they want to see, as opposed to confronting, throwing at them a definite image. This is an object, and this is what the image is about. Rather, I like it so that the viewer sees whatever they want to see in it. I guess I wanted to open up the form even more and simplify it even more, and have just sections of it within the environment, so that I probably could get a larger sense of ambiguity. For example, the fact that I am playing with forms here, circles, rectangles, and flat shapes, would give me that element of fantasy that I look for. I think that man has a very difficult task to deal with. We are all thrown into this vast space which is made of inhuman substance, and which is the universal vacuum. So what does man do when he's confronted with this overwhelming silence of existence? Existence that speaks of nothingness. Man is always trying to fulfill this gap between silence and the attempt to eliminate it. But by doing so, he always fails, because the gap remains. The way he tries to eliminate it is by social relations, culture, language, and a sense of self. But in this duality, he continues through these illusions to evade this side of existence. I, as an artist, like to penetrate the silence. The sound of silence is just overwhelming and very empowering. I like to be in the midst of all these elements and be unified with that, with the absence of self, because I become one with these elements and elements and all the forms, and I find that that's the liberation of my human soul, which is in this imprisoned body. And it's as though I want to create this form that is so much larger than life. And I think it has to do with being in, when you start off the work, you are so so anxious and in such a struggle because you don't know where that piece of work is going to lead you up to. And it's a struggle, and you just want to get out of that. And as I am struggling to get out of this I would say oppressive feeling, I guess then that's when you resource yourself to wanting to do something that is much larger than life. So that will give you that feeling where you are liberating yourself. And I think that when a piece like that happens and it and achieves or spreads out so large into space, I think that that's when I find that I have reached the other side. I have reached the other dimension that I'm so desperately looking for, to get out of this monotonous way of looking at life and at objects, and objects that sometimes we look at them as being dull because at times we lead such a dull existence. And in pieces like this, that's when I reach out very desperately to achieve that sense that things are larger than life, and that you can remove yourself from basic human condition. I preferably work in an environment where I feel that I'm being loved. I think that's very important for an artist, for myself, because I think creation and love are very connected. And I feel that nature is also about love, and it's also about harmony. And so therefore I can tune into it very smoothly and easily. But unfortunately, I think that I can't also just say, you know, I'm just going to deal with beautiful things, and I'm only going to deal with easy things and with nice environments, because that's also not the only reality. There is the reality of oppressive environments, and there's also the reality of oppressed people and oppressed things. In other words, there's also an ugly side to life, because that's what an artist tries to do. He tries to make life more bearable by transforming this ugly side of life into something. You know, an artist will try and elevate this ugly side and this difficult side of life. And I think that that is actually one of the goals and functions of an artist, to try to elevate the human soul from the struggle that man goes through. And And so does the artist. The artist goes through the same struggle, but he is capable of, through his work, to elevate himself, and hopefully he can project that to man, to humanity. And I think that my art speaks about life. It speaks about the ugliness, it speaks about the beautiful, and it speaks about the child. It speaks about environment. And it also speaks about the harmony in the universe. I hope that, at least I think that that's what I am projecting. And that's it.